Hi everyone, so it is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. So if you're watching this now, it is live. If it is after September 17th, then it is recorded and posted. So I'm just getting set up so I can see the chat. All right, so what I'm working on is the Addy Shoulder Bag, and I have the camera set up so you can see my cutting mat and what I'm doing. This is my personal preference when I'm watching like YouTube videos or YouTube tutorials. So if you're watching this, whether recorded or live, let me know if you prefer a different camera angle, if you like seeing the person who's speaking in the video. I was just trying to think of the best way where you could see what I'm working on. So the other thing that I want to mention is this is my Addy Shoulder Bag pattern. I have printed it out at 90%. So this is an example of a crossbody I made at 90%, and this is the original at 100%. So when you put them side by side, you can see that there's a sizable difference. So I love the shoulder bag as an actual shoulder bag, but I really love this size as a crossbody. So I am cutting out a Beetlejuice themed one. I'm going to do it as a crossbody, and why I'm choosing this is one, because it's my own pattern, so I'm showing the pattern pieces, and two, because I think this front pocket here makes a great place to put a panel. So that is some of my logic behind it. If you've watched my other tutorials, like I normally don't show pattern pieces or cutting mats or anything else, but that's why you're seeing this all here. So in order to do this, when you print out a pattern in the Adobe Reader, you can put it to 90%. You're able to adjust that, and that's how I got these sizes. The only thing that I'm going to be cutting differently is you can look that this is the zipper overlay at 90%, and I have an example here of what it looks like at the 100. So it does shift that. So I'm not going to do the overlay tonight using this template. I will use the original one. And then that also means that the lining, this is the zipper pocket lining for the inside, it's just, like if we look from the back, it just barely covers the opening for the zipper. So while making those bags, those are the two things that I will definitely be adjusting. So my plan for tonight is I have Beetlejuice themed. I have a 3-panel set from Backstitch with the coordinate that I've been hoarding forever, a couple different vinyls, and some striped fabric. So when I make my bags, I like to start with the vinyl first. So this is from, I found this in a remnant bin at Joann's. I actually think it's from their cosplay section. So I'm going to use this for the vinyl on the bottom of the bag. And this is our glow in the dark fabric. This is going to be for the vinyl accent piece on the top. So it's going to be green up top, this black on the bottom. And we currently have the neon green and the white glow in the dark restocked. But since this one is already here, I'm going to start with this one. I didn't really sort any of the pieces, so I'm going to have to dig to make sure. And also, I include pattern pieces for both the regular piece and for the interfacing. So I haven't quite decided yet how I'm going to interface this. If I want it really sturdy, I use Decoville Light, but I have also used fusible fleece. This one, because it is kind of sturdy. I think I'm leaning towards a fusible fleece. And the pattern pieces keep it out of the seam allowance because I sew on a domestic, and so obviously the thicker it is, the more difficult. And all of these have SVGs, so, but my preference is, unless it's like an overlay, I usually don't use my Cricut. And also, I cut out every single piece one at a time. You could use the ruler and measure it. I find that it's just easier for me to use the piece. If you find you're more accurate with a ruler, that's great too. So we need 2 of these bottom vinyl pieces. So that's what I'm working on now. Hey Beth, how are you doing? I'm so glad you could pop on. And it's kind of weird for me right now to be cutting at this table, because honestly, I usually cut out everything on the floor. I put this cutting mat on the floor in like my living room and spread out everything in like a big circle around me. So it's definitely getting used to cutting standing up right now. And I need to check Joann's to see if they have this, more of this vinyl. I just really love it. I think it matches perfect for the Beetlejuice theme. I even used it on like 101 Dalmatians for Cruella before. And even though the top is textured, the back is like a fleece, and it really does sew nicely on my domestic. So I'm only using this black vinyl for the bottom. So what I normally do is then I like to put, you could like put a paper clip or something to hold them together. I just set them to the side with the pattern piece. That way I can try to stay organized. So here is the example of the interfacing or stabilizer piece, but I'm not going to cut that out now. Hi, Elba. Oh, Beth, I'm going to send it to you later. So if you guys have seen my winter crescent bag, it does have a similar, it's the same way how we put in the D-ring connectors on the side. There is no gusset piece here, but it's just a like taller version of that crossbody with more pockets and storage. And I mean, I'm biased because it's my own pattern, but I really love it for, like I said, being able to show off a panel. So this is the top stabilizer piece. I'm going to move that to the side because I don't really need it right now. And I am going to cut the glow-in-the-dark vinyl as well. Hi, Dalva. Yeah, thankfully I'm still very comfortable on the floor, but I think part of that is I'm so short. I'm already close to the floor already. And Beth, yeah, the panels work great on this bag, so I'm really excited. All right, this neon green is super bright, but I really love how it looks with the print. I think it really draws it out. And this glow in the dark, it has like a super smooth top for the exterior side. I use my Teflon foot on it, and again, it works great on my domestic. It has the white, soft white backing, which I know different people have different preferences, but for me, it works nicely, and it can be interfaced. I'll try to show the glow in a minute. I don't know if it will work with just like the overhead light, but if I put it in the light box, it does charge up very, very quickly. I probably should have put a new rotary blade in before doing this, but I honestly always wait to the last minute. I can't tell if it's the blade or if it's the angle that I'm cutting at that I'm not putting enough pressure. Probably a combination of both. And I find that most patterns are like super forgiving, or at least this pattern is, that if things aren't 100% straight, especially because there's not a gusset that you have to fit in, then it works out nicely. Also pattern weights, those would probably be helpful. You can see I just maneuver. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Are you sewing tonight or working on any particular projects? I love just like browsing through all the groups and seeing what everybody's making. I find so much inspiration from that. And I really appreciate you guys joining in on a Tuesday night. I know it's kind of odd, but with me going back to work, I find it's been really helpful to set aside like a designated time where I can just work on different projects that I have going or things that I've been meaning to do. And this bag has been sitting in my brain for a while, so I'm really excited to make it. Oh, Beth, are you working on just a video for your channel, or are you working on one for the Marathon Society? You know what, Elba, that makes a lot of sense. I am a teacher, and I 100% believe the stories about the full moon. So yeah, sewing is great therapy for that. All right, so I'm gonna set these to the side. This is our top accent. The only other thing that two things I'm going to use for the glow in the dark, I am going to use the zipper overlay, but I'm going to use the original size and cut it on my Cricut, so I'm going to do that later. But in the interior, I am going to do a slip pocket trim, so I'm just cutting that as well. This one I do think I'm going to use a ruler just because I want it to be really straight, and especially on the zipper overlay because you have that raw edge. So I'm just making sure that I have enough. I like, and also when I do this slip pocket trim, I like to leave a little bit extra so I have some wiggle room that I can trim off at the end if I need. Oh, fun. I can't wait to see your Alice video. It's a cute bag. Yeah, so if any of you guys are watching, what I was asking about the Marathon Society is this Saturday we have another marathon going. It's the Louis waist bag. So there's a whole bunch of videos. I have mine set to premiere, and it's going to have, in the link will be a link, in the description there's a Linktree link, and it will have all the videos and times for that one. Alright, so I'm done with this vinyl for now, so I'm just going to move that to the side. And let's see. Dalva, yes, it's that island once the sun goes down. Yeah, so what I've been doing a cross stitch along, a Halloween themed one. So at night, if I'm not sewing, I've been like just winding down, relaxing, doing some of that as well. Alright, so these are huge panels, and I decided I'm going to use this one. There's a couple others. This has like the poem and than Never Trust the Living. But I wanted actual Beetlejuice. So I don't know if you guys have a strategy when you cut patterns, but I always go to like, what part do I think is the most fun? And so for me, that's like the placement of a panel or like any of the major prints. This is where it would be helpful to, if you had like templates or whatever. I'm pretty sure center is like between the go ahead and make my. So I'm gonna try to just line that up a little bit more room on the right hand side because there's no gusset. This is gonna turn around a little bit. So I'm just gonna make sure, and I just wanna be mindful for seam allowances that'll hopefully catch all the words. Hey Brittany, thanks for popping on. I appreciate all you guys being here. So I'm not one really for fussy cutting. You'll see that when I use the main print, but definitely for a panel, and these panels are humongous that I am going to try to use this for some of the lining. Oh no, back to cat toys. Brittany, I was watching your video. I believe you're doing like the moon dances. And you're like, I need a break from cat toys. All right, so this is gonna be that front pocket panel. So again, if you're just popping on, this is what the front of the bag looks like. So this is gonna sit on this side here. So I'm also gonna, I still have the other two panels attached. I didn't think about it. I should probably split them before, but I'm gonna do that now. It's like I said, I wanna use some of these extra fabric. I'm one of those people, I keep all my scraps. So this is cotton woven. So I do like to use the waterproof canvas because then I don't need to interface. But because this has like the matching themed print, I think it's worth it having to interface. Thank you. I've had the main print for a couple years. I bought the panels last year, I believe. Sometimes I have ideas that sit in my head forever and I just need the inspiration to do them. All right, so I would really appreciate your feedback. So this is where my OCD comes into effect, and I would love your input. So the stripes are going horizontal here, but when I think of Beetlejuice, I think of vertical. So my thing is like, all right, if I'm gonna use this as lining pieces, do I now turn them vertical, or do I keep them horizontal to match that front print? Hey Dad, yes, measure twice, cut once. I learned that from you a long time ago. Hopefully I don't make a mistake. All right, Brittany, you think it'd be fun to do both? Okay, that makes me feel better because I'm like, but everything needs to look the same. So I definitely appreciate that. So this is gonna need a lining as well. So I'm not gonna move that one completely out of the way. What I'm gonna check real quick is if I were to turn these vertical, I don't know if I have enough for the full lining. I might have to just do, yeah, so I'm only gonna be able to get one. So I think I'm gonna use this for the inside of the pockets and stuff. And then so what I think I'm gonna do then is I have these smaller stripes. I found this at Walmart, like a pre-rolled one, and it matches perfect. So I have plenty of this. So I'm gonna do the main lining with that, and I'll use this for like the pockets and stuff. Oh, good, Elba. Okay, I'm glad that you guys agree. It makes me feel better. All right, so I am The front pocket, this is, since it's gonna be the zipper, it needs a lining. For me it's just stripes. I guess if you are using directional, you're not really gonna see it, but it would definitely be something that you want to take into account if so. So I'm just gonna use this extra piece as wisely as I can. Alright, so if you're watching, do you guys enjoy using like wovens that you then have to interface, or do you try to always go with materials that you don't need to? I think it depends on my project for me. Alright, so now that I have the outside for the panel and the lining, this one is done, so I'm just going to move that to the side. So my thought is that other panel is going to go to the right, so I'm going to use this main print on the left hand side here to complement it. So that's what I'm going to do next. Yeah, Beth, I really like, I don't know, I have a love-hate with interfacing. I have the Cricut heat press just from having a Cricut and making t-shirts and stuff. And I find that if I am doing woven, using the heat press really cuts down on interfacing time. So I think that's why I don't mind woven so much. You can see I've used this, I've made some headbands and some other tiny pouches. So I'm just trying to see where this will best fit. So like I said, I'm not huge into fussy cutting, but I also don't want to like not have a focal point. Alright, I actually think I'm gonna go down here. Oh, thanks, Dad. So I think I'm gonna use this with Dante's Inferno Room as the center, and it works out because it's so close to this fabric that's like almost unusable right there. Yeah, oh, but I totally get that. What I'm really like bummed about is that I love getting the waterproof canvas that they have at Walmart. I use that all the time, the Pro Tough, and Walmarts are getting rid of a lot of their fabrics. So when I went back home, now it's like, all right, well now I gotta order it if I want to use that. All right, it's perfect. So this will be that panel, the side panel. I'm not done with this print, so I'm just gonna set it to the side. But again, I need a lining for this as well, so I'm gonna take it right from what I've already cut out. Yeah, I honestly like didn't really realize how much the heat press made a difference. I used my iron for so long, even though I had the Cricut press. And I was like, you know what, let me just try it. And it really does make a difference. My two favorite interfacings are Geeky Fuse, the cotton one, or the So Fuse Plus. And I really notice a difference trying to interface them when I'm using an iron versus when I'm using that heat press. And I think the Cricut heat presses are great if you already have one. I wouldn't say like, oh, go buy one. I think the larger, like if you have to buy a heat press, I would say get the biggest size base that you can afford. Because I think my Cricut's only 9x9, so I definitely wish I had more space for it. But having already had it, works great. Okay. So now I have my exterior and lining for that front pocket. So again, I'm gonna put it to the side. Yeah, that's exactly right, Dalva. I think depending on the look of the bag, and I also think about who the bag's for. Like, I definitely have like older relatives that prefer that woven cotton look. Like my aunt loves to be able to throw hers in the washing machine and stuff. So there's definitely different factors for sure. This is another stabilizer piece, so I'm just moving that one out of the way. So this one here is the main panel piece, which was kind of confusing in testing. So if this is a pattern you want to try, I'm just going to explain it. So you need one exterior and one lining, and that's because the front here, the lining is actually what's behind inside these pockets. So you're not going to, you don't want to waste like a really beautiful exterior print, in my opinion, on that. So that's what the lining one's for. And then the other one I say exterior because we do have a slip pocket, but this here on the sides of the slip pocket and the backing behind it, that is all visible. So that's what that piece means. I know it could be a little confusing, that's why I tried to put in red, like trying to explain it, but I think sometimes like in video and whatnot helps. And this fits perfect. I feel so good about using up all of this woven, not going to waste. And I think it's a fun little pop that even though it's in a pocket and you're not gonna see it immediately, that it will, you open up the pocket, it's like, ooh, fun. And these are, I believe they were the big kid panel size because they came in a group of 3 and not 2. And I love buying panels like that because I do feel like there's a lot of usable fabric around that center print. I'll have to check what, does it have a particular name, the Zipper Valley one that's like silk? So I'm keeping this here for a second because this is going to be the lining to that front pocket. So I'm going to move it out of the way, but I do need an exterior piece. And I didn't think about this till just now. I think it will be really fun to have a pop of the glow in the dark vinyl. So I'm going to grab the green again and I'm going to use that for that back side because it will be visible on the edges and such. I do like using a vinyl or an exterior because it does give the bag more structure. So for this part of the bag, I'll be able to use less interfacing. I'm gonna have to try that, Dalva. Is it similar to the ones like bonded nylon, Theratex, the Dragon Sheen? Because I'm curious because I want to add that base, I think. Because right now we just offer the smooth vinyl and the water resistant canvas. But I've got samples from my supplier of that same material. It has like a weird name, so that's why everybody names it their own thing. But I really like the feeling of it, and then it has that white backing that gives it structure. I actually have the sample near my feet. So this is like the sample, so I don't know if you can hear it, but like it has that nylon like front, but then that white backing. So I'd love to know too, if you feel comfortable putting it in the chat or join the group later. Let me know if this is a base that you would like to see some of our prints in. Like I know our flamingos and books, we're sold out of a lot of the water resistant canvas right now. And I'm considering putting it on this base. Okay, so now that I did that for the exterior, I'm actually truly done with this piece. Okay, so now I need the exterior slip pocket. I just cut out the green vinyl, so I am going to use this for the slip pocket. I'm going to use this for the exterior and interior, but those are different size slip pockets. Oh, that's good to know, Dava. Thank you so much. I really appreciate people's feedback and hearing like what everyone prefers to sew with and like, because we all have different machines, different preferences. So it's really helpful getting a lot of input. And I don't really have a strike team because we just started doing pre-orders, so I have a few like friends I can bounce the ideas off of, but I don't have like a whole team, so I really appreciate any feedback like that. And you can see this one here, I didn't look to see, I figured that it's such a large piece that some of the important parts should be centered on it. I'm definitely gonna have to choose my rotary blade after this one. Alright, so that actually worked out perfect. It has a lot of different scenes on it, so I'm pretty happy. Bundle that up again, because I'm gonna need a lining. I think I can fit one more. Yeah, this is perfect. Book webbing and book magnets. I would love to do that. My problem is that I only have done a couple pre-orders and they're just not very large. There's so much like mistrust in some of the groups. So I really wish that I could build up that trust, because it's so costly up front and then product just like sits there. But I would totally, we have the school books pull, so like book webbing and book magnets would definitely fit right in with that. Alright, so I have the lining and the exterior for the exterior slip pocket. So now for the interior slip pocket, I'm going to do that two different ways. I'm going to do the stripes for the inside of it that you don't see, and I'm going to use the main print as the outside, so that when you look in the bag, there's like a nice pop of characters. And my preference for cutting is I do all my exterior and linings first, and then I go back and I cut any stabilizers or interfacings. Alright, so I'm going to use this as the lining of that slip pocket. I'm going to cut another one for the outside. Again, I'm just going to bring it as close to this where I have all these jagged pieces. I think this is going to look great because, like I said, this is going to be that slip pocket lining, and then I'm going to use those smaller stripes, so I think it will give that nice pop inside the bag. Okay, I'm going to move them out of the way. So for this interior zipper pocket lining, this is where I was talking about how I'm not going to use the 90% overlay because it shrinks it so much, and it doesn't give you a lot of space to top stitch around. So I'm going to use the original, and I'm just grabbing my original size pattern. I need a better method. Maybe you guys let me know, how do you store your patterns? I literally just like keep them paper clipped and like stack them. Some of them, if I have like a lot of patterns from more than one designer, I have like a little folder that they're then inside, but they're all just stacked on each other. Oh no, that was slipping. So this is where it's really noticeable. This is the interior zipper pocket lining on the full size of the shoulder bag, and then this is 90%. So you can see that it's quite a sizable difference. So since I'm going to use the larger overlay, I'm going to cut my zipper pocket lining from the original pattern. I don't. Yeah, none of these thicker stripes are large enough. Pieces are large enough to accommodate that, so I'm gonna do it out of the smaller. And just to make sure, like, it's really important to me that I have the main lining done, like enough space for that. So I'm just gonna check that first before I cut. Yeah, it'll be fine. And for my pattern pieces, for example, like this one, I could cut on the fold. So if you wanna like save yourself and only print out like half of the pattern pieces, you could. But it's just my personal preference that when I cut on the fold, I find that it's not quite as accurate. So I always try to include full-size pattern pieces that can be cut on the fold, and measurements as well, to try to accommodate everybody's preference or learning. I guess in teaching it would be learning style, but sewing it would be your preferences, right? mean, this is the same size for both linings. There's nothing different. I could even double it on itself, so that way I'm cutting like 2 at one time. It's another time-saving technique. But again, I find that not quite as accurate that way. So this way takes a little bit longer, but I don't mind. So I'm really excited because, like I said, this is going to be the lining, and then just like imagine the slip pocket on top of it, and then it's going to have the glow in the dark overlay. So I need to cut one more of these main linings. Please feel free to ask like any questions in the chat, like while I'm live. I have no problem answering questions about patterns, about how I choose my materials, my machine, anything like that. And I also said in the beginning too, and I know there wasn't like a lot of people on, but let me know if you like the viewpoint of the camera. I know my preference is to be able to see what people are working on, but I know some people like seeing whoever's speaking as well. So I plan to do a variety of ways. So like last week on that Tuesday, I had some cotton cuts to catch up on. Tonight, I really wanted to cut a bag. It's partially, well, I guess it's fully visible here. I have a serger, and I'm not really confident making clothes for myself, but I make clothes for my nieces all the time, so I have a couple things cut out for them that I think one of the Tuesday nights I'm gonna be working on that one. So like for example, like obviously these pieces are so tiny, I toss them, but these little pieces, I will save these because I'm like, oh, it makes a great like zipper tab. So anything that's like I feel like is a usable amount, even if it's small, I try to keep. So that just leaves the 2 zipper pocket linings. Again, I'm going to use the stripes because they're inside. And I think for hardware, I'm going to use gunmetal. And then I'll show you the zipper tape. I believe I have gunmetal sandworm holes. I forgot to look before I started the live. So I'm almost positive that I have the sandworm. So I'm gonna use that for like the front exterior. And the top, the inside zipper pocket, I'll probably just use like a standard pull. And then we have zipper tape called we call it majestic tape. And the teeth, they look like a black, or they matches really well with gunmetal. and it has like a shift, like a blue greenish shift, but depending on the color of the zipper tape, it can even like the sides of the zipper tape, it can even pick up different colors. All right, so this is for the interior. So now the only thing that I have left, which I probably won't do on camera, besides the zipper overlay, because that will be the Cricut and I have to set that up, is the interfacing. But I think what I'm going to use, like I said, I really like the Geeky Fuse Cotton Soft. I ran out of the So Fuse Plus, so I'm going to interface all the cotton pieces with this. And to give it some bulk, I have more rolls underneath, but I think fusible fleece. So that way, I feel like because it's made out of cotton woven and a little bit of vinyl, it doesn't need that like really stiff looking bag. So I think these two are going to be my choice. And I'm going to look real quick because I want to show you the zipper tape. I try to look for the zipper pulls, but this is the black majestic tape that I'm talking about. And you can actually see it. I don't know if we have any of these left. We were sold out, I think, of the purple and the pink, but both of these have what we call that majestic tape teeth. So you can see that with the purple one here, it's not quite as noticeable, and this one has like a blue green, depending how the light hits it. And even like the new roll that we have in the back has a reddish look. I didn't realize I had another piece. So these are from the same style of teeth, different cuts from the roll. So you can see the variation between it. All right, so like I said, and as far as, I haven't decided as strap yet. I make my crossbody strap 60 inches. That's my preference. I find that it fits me really well, but also fits a lot of variety of sizes. I haven't decided. I might just use black webbing. I might have bought some of the backstitch striped one, but I'll have to like really look and dig that out. So I'm probably going to use webbing. I think out of all the things, making a strap out of material is like my least favorite thing to do. So I think that is all that I'm gonna do on camera tonight, because like I said, if I cut these materials, the interfacing and stabilizer, it's literally like the same cuts over again. So anything cotton woven, like I said, is going to have the Geeky Fuse, and the vinyl pieces will have that fusible fleece on it. I'm gonna wait a second just in case if you guys have any questions or anything. And I know you can probably see I have the chat off to the side. The moon is gorgeous. It's been such beautiful weather here in New York, so I definitely need to go look because it's been like shining so bright the past few nights. I don't know if this will shine without like a direct light on it. All right, so I don't see anything else in the chat. So just to show you again, this is the bag that I was cutting out. It is my pattern. It's linked in the description. If you're interested, there's like a code for 10% off. I do think after I interface this though, I'm going to sew this one up live. I don't know if I'll wait till next Tuesday or do it later in the week. If you enjoy the lives, on Saturday, the Marathon Society is doing the Louis waist bag from Uh-Oh Creations. So there's a bunch of us with different times. I think it starts at like 8 or 9 in the morning. My video is gonna premiere at 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you're in my Facebook group, there will be links for all of that. All right, so I'm gonna hop out. I'm gonna try to say bye. Like, thank you so much for joining and chatting with me. Definitely feel free, like I said, to join any of my social media and interact. Definitely an open book. So I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a good night. Bye.